Butterflies fill my spine, I feel myself getting hot again. Nerves rushing through my brain, yeah, they can't hear fiber from the trees. You're standing by his side, red drops burning down your face. Getting real close now, baby. Holy fuck, I feel it with you. I lose self-control. Now I found that you're not one to hear me now. You got me on my knees begging for your lady. And like a fool to stand around and let you blame me. And I'm riding in the sky to the heavens like an
Hi, my name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Tonight, I got a very special guest for his first time ever, Todd Graham.
Hey, all right. You can call me Barry Ace.
Oh, yeah.
This is the closest Barry Ace is going to get on the show, I guess.
Yes. Sorry, Dan.
Tell me.
I'm sorry.
What's your problem with Barry Ace?
I don't think he's a very good wrestler. I don't.
No, can we cuss on the show now? Kinda here and there. Listen, I think it's fair to say no shit, Leo. Like, I'll say this though. When WAW, of course, you know about WAW.
Yeah.
When WAW moved to the Big Carmine's Big Unit, as we used to call it in Gloucester. Rest in peace, Big Carmine. I would always whenever anybody asked, "What do you think of the match?"
Right.
And in WAW, if you know that it's a mixed bag.
Right.
There was some really talented people, and there was some really not so talented people.
Right.
So I used to grade on a scale of bad, good, and great.
Right.
Simple that way. No stars, no numbers. Barry Ace had the only great match
Get out of here.
that I ever saw in the Gloucester building, and that's not to take anything away from such wonderful classics that occurred in that building. But what it was Barry Ace versus Frank Bones.
Yeah.
Karate versus boxing.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know this, but Barry Ace has probably never seen the inside of a karate studio as a student.
Right. But he's a karate master.
He's rented them for videos, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Much love, Barry. But his idea, his martial arts was absolutely like turtle style, like turtle up and don't get hit.
Yeah.
And it was a worked shoot affair, but it was just like, oh man, if this was a real fight, I think Barry might die. But by the end of it, I was just so elated and stunned by the spectacle of it that I was just like, I never say this. This is the first great match. I think I give it the double thumbs up. And apparently there's no video of it, so I guess it will have to remain in lore.
And we'll have to take your word for it. Congratulations, Barry Ace. He's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. He is though. He's a very nice guy. Oh, he is.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that, and props to the pirate ship. So always raise the flag.
All right. So you got a show coming up on December 14th, and off here I just asked you, Tommy Trainwreck's back.
Yeah, Tommy Trainwreck. Yeah, Tommy lived around here for a long time. I think Rhode Island. Yeah. So his family's here. So we tend to coordinate our last show of the year, especially since last year, because let's get real, he drew me a lot of tickets for that match.
Nice.
A lot of people like the holiday death match. I think we lost one fan because of the blood.
Wow.
But the other 130 in the room were like, that was the best thing I've ever seen. Yeah. So it's like, the needs of the many, my friend. I think we'll go with that. So yeah, which is this my camera?
Yeah,
all right.
yours.
December 14th, Nothing Left to Prove. Our main event, our new Proving Ground heavyweight champion, the Mind Eraser Mike Grassa, takes on a man who guided him very early in his career, the one, JT Dunn. I did not have that on my bingo card.
No kidding.
Frank Bones, cornered by Greedy Bones. Tell me the Greedy Bones fact you always
Greedy
tell.
Bones used to go out with a family friend.
For whatever reason, every time somebody mentions Greedy Bones, you mention that.
Yep.
You gotta
Her
get
name is Robin. She got a new boyfriend now.
Wow.
Victor.
Victor.
Victor's his name.
Didn't
I
want.
saw it today. I don't remember. I think it's Sousa.
He doesn't have a cool name like Greed-D.
No, of course not. Nope, not many people do.
And they'll be taking on. Frank Bowens will be taking on my partner Tom Billington. I'll be in his corner. You know, I never got to tangle with Greedy Bones.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get him.
All that walking around without a shirt on. Oh, my hand's getting tingly. By the way, I think I broke this hand on Reggie.
Really?
Yeah.
Reggie's a good dude.
He's a really
I like
nice
Reggie.
guy.
I really do. Reggie, you're the man.
I told him once. I said, of all the people I know, you're one of them. And so here's a little. All right. I guess I'm breaking the news here tonight.
All right.
It is just recently, and we knew it was in the pipeline, but it was just recently voted on, and it passed overwhelmingly. The people who own the Beverly Elks Lodge are selling the building.
Wow.
Now, the Beverly Elks Lodge is, at least the plan is they're moving to another building.
Okay.
Very close by.
Yep.
With a function hall with an 8-foot ceiling. So,
Wow. Yeah.
the last show at the Elks Lodge was most likely the last show at the Elks Lodge.
Wow. Now, the show on the 14th, is that at the Peabody?
It's at the Peabody
Black
Knights
Box.
of Columbus. At the Knights of Columbus.
Okay.
Next year, we've got all our dates ready for
Yep.
next year. We're going to be doing a lot more Black Box. Because it's such a beautiful venue, and also I'm in charge of it now.
Nice.
So it's literally my job to coordinate events there. So I gave myself a good discount.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be there a bunch, and it sucks because. It's funny. I usually come on your show and I get emotional. About stuff. I've already cried enough about this. That building means a lot to me, and I did a lot of cool things there. Had a lot of great moments, and when we went into the show in October, I said, because we knew it was coming down the pipeline that it might happen, but we just didn't know. And we were asked not to talk about it, so naturally I talked about it. But in code, so nobody really knew what was going on. But we all kind of knew that it was probably going to be the last one there. So I said, I was like kind of looking around, going, where can I sneak in one more cool moment? And Ricky, as he is known legally, Ricky was there. Because he comes with Teresa and Conway. I mean, he travels with Teresa and Conway. And I knew he was going to be there, and I was just like, he's probably durable enough to take the frog splash.
Oh yeah.
So we did a little thing right after intermission, 3-4 minutes tops.
Right.
And that whole segment is just filled with cool Easter eggs and final nods to everything that meant something to me in that building. So we got to do that. And I just got done. I'm hoping to have it out on the table by December, and if not, January. A Derek Simonetti action figure commemorating that night.
Awesome.
Because I was wrestling in jeans and a t-shirt, so it was very easy to make that action figure. Right. The Elks Lodge, it means the world to me. It'll always be my home. And it sucks we don't get to dance in there no more, but there will be other cool things down the pipeline, I'm sure. And we've made the other two buildings we run in homes, and who knows where we go from here.
Nice. So. Well, I noticed on the with Tommy Trainbeck is wrestling Elle Valentine. That's gonna be really good. She's really good.
She's crazy.
She really is.
She's crazy. Jason Devine hit her really hard once in a match like a couple months ago, and she hasn't shut up about it. She's been fighting other men just to see if they could hit as hard as Jason Devine, and I'm just like, I am not bothered by this turn of events.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm finding things out about me that I didn't quite know.
She's tough.
Nevertheless, the second I said Tommy Trainwreck was coming back and we were going to do the holiday death match again, used to be the Christmas death match, but trying not to upset anybody. Until that first question you're going to ask me, but whatever. So we're doing the holiday death match, and she immediately put her hand up, and I'm just like, I remember hearing stories and seeing clips and videos from her time in Blow. Are you familiar with Blow?
No.
The Boston League of Wicked Wrestlers. It's I I apologize. I hope I get this right, but it's a very LGBTQ plus supported promotion.
Okay.
I think everybody on the show is in that community.
Right.
And I don't know necessarily about the training. I know Bo Douglas was helping, but for a long time it was less about the wrestling and more about the show.
Right.
Tim Kilgore's Cabba Wrestle would be a perfect example.
Yes.
Because Tim's doing very, very. He noticed before anybody else. Because did you ever meet Sully Banger?
Yes, I have met
All right,
Sully
so
once.
he ran a promotion called Wrestle Party.
Okay.
And it ran out of the Black Box in Rhode Island. Okay. Black Box, by the way, my Black Box, his Black Box, two different things. Black Box is a general term.
Oh, okay.
Meaning performance space, often used by improv people.
Okay.
And so anyway, he recognized right away that the people in the audience, they liked the wrestling.
Right.
But they didn't necessarily care about the wrestling. Tim's tapped into that community, and he was just like, I'm going to run a wrestling show with wrestling. It was like that scene from Futurama. I'm going to do a show with wrestling and hookers and blackjack.
Yeah.
In fact, forget the wrestling.
Cabba Wrestle.
Right. And so, so you got drag performers, you got burlesque performers, and I'm like, I got to see one of these shows.
Right, I want to go to one. I do.
Guess when the next one is?
When?
I'll give them a plug.
December 14th.
December 14th, yeah.
Of course it is.
So, yeah. and that's okay. We are so far apart, it ain't going to hurt either one of our houses.
That's awesome.
So if you're in the Rhode Island area and you don't want to travel to my show, go see Cabba Wrestle.
But we definitely got to go to one of his shows, though.
Oh, for
Seriously,
sure.
I definitely want to go. All right, listen, let's get into that.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions. Usually people don't ask questions because I'm on here so often.
I hear you, but we got a lot today.
But it's been a minute,
Yeah.
so I'm glad I got to get on here before the holidays.
All right. Landon Connor Estender.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Does the chaotic juice taste like cashews or Skittles? Come on, Landon. That's kind of funny.
Well, definitely not Skittles. Actually, I prefer the original recipe. The new one's got coconut.
Okay.
Any Office fans out there get that? No. All right. So I'm about to upset some people, okay?
Okay.
Because I know, and let's put it on the table now.
Yeah.
I know that you have had a few guests on here that are not fans of Chase Del Monte. I saw the
true.
episode with Brian Privatera and goddamn it, I forget his name.
Nick Carosa.
No, Johnny Cromwell. It's Hard Rock and Johnny
he's
Cromwell.
wrestling. Yeah.
I remember him as Johnny Cromwell.
Yeah.
I had them on there, and before I say anything, I'm just going to say two things.
Yeah.
One, I've never met Johnny Cromwell. Seems like an okay guy.
He is a good guy.
And Brian, I like Brian.
I do too.
All right, quick funny story about Brian. Brian, private dancer for money. Great name, Privatera. Love that name. Anyway, the night I won the Bay State title for the first time, it was Royal Rumble, and the way it's kayfabe, by the way, we break some rules.
Don't tell
here.
anybody.
The people who put together the match, they put together when you come out and who you eliminate.
Right.
Now I was scheduled to win the whole thing, and they only gave me one elimination in the entire match, and I'm just like, wow, what a winner I am!
Yeah.
Can't toss nobody out. The only way I won is I won by pinfall. That's not how you do that. And it was Brian.
Yeah.
Right? Now, at the time, and I don't know if he is now, but Brian was an active paramedic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a police officer now.
Oh, okay. Well, then I better stop now. So Brian, he did the dark match. He did the opening dark match. But he told Ryan and Atlee, he said, look, if I get a call, I'll have to go, obviously. But, hopefully that doesn't happen. So I'm in the ring. I think he came out I came out number 10. I think he came out number 17, something like that. And it was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They play the music. And I'm like, okay, cool, here we go. And then Ryan gets on the mic and he goes, number 17, Aaron Amadeus, which is Brian's wrestling name. Aaron Amadeus. Aaron is an active paramedic and was called away. And I'm just like, I think you could see it on the tape. I'm just like, well, shit.
Now what are we going to do, right?
And I believe, now I could just love the guy and be remembering this wrong, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, at that point, freaking Flax came around and was like, don't worry, buddy, knock me off the apron.
I love Flax.
And off he went. I was like, I guess I got an elimination. Now, I could be, that did happen. It just may not have been that match. I could be wrong. I just know that happened. But before I say anything, I have no problem with either one of those men. I do disagree with the fact that litigator doesn't necessarily know the rules about marital law. Okay, because I'm not gonna look the Chase Bryan story. That has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say. And I saw the episode.
Right.
And the one thing that stood out to me was they were talking about how him and speaking of Cashew,
Yeah.
that him and Brad are legally married.
Right.
And
Right.
they were really pushing the narrative that it was fraud. And it's
If I'm not mistaken, he said that it's only for the insurance. So isn't that fraud?
No, that's a great question, and let's talk about it.
Okay,
Let me
yeah,
put
yeah.
you an example. Your girlfriend's name is Maria, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just say, and you guys are engaged, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's say you weren't.
Yep.
Okay. You and Maria are dating. You're dating for a long time. Don't know about getting married. Maybe someday. Whatever. Right? God forbid, Maria gets sick.
Yep.
And either she doesn't have insurance or she has insurance that's not going to cover it well, but you work in the school system,
Right.
so you got good insurance.
I got great insurance.
So you look at it and go, you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and we'll go down to City Hall,
Yeah.
we'll get married, I'll get you on my insurance, we'll get you taken care
Right.
of. No law was broken.
No.
None.
No.
Okay? Now, I'm going to say
know what you're
this.
saying. No, you're
I'm
right,
going
though.
I'm going
Go
to say
ahead.
this, and I'm going to say it with all due respect
Yeah.
and try not to get sued.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please. Allegedly.
Please don't get me sued.
Johnny Cromwell said allegedly so many times on that episode.
I even said it.
I don't even think you had an episode that night, Leo. But the only reason that in my opinion, I think, and I could be wrong,
Yeah.
hypothetically, the
Hypothetically.
only reason that it was brought up and talked about so scandalously is because they're both guys.
Of course.
Okay?
100%. Of course.
And here's
of
the
course.
thing. And look,
of course.
and I'm not going to lie to you. I have a good business relationship with
Yeah.
Chase. I have a good personal
That's good.
relationship with
Right.
Chase. That's the thing. Everybody wants me to come on and let me tell you about
I don't want you. Did I ever say that? You
no,
never,
of course
right?
not.
I would never.
You are an impartial navigator here. Let me tell you about the wild sex party I got invited to after that. No, never happened. You want to know
Right.
what my experience at Chaotic was? It was awesome. Okay?
bet it was. I bet it was.
I walked in the room, and the people I didn't know welcomed me with open arms, and the
Nice.
people that I did know told me over and over again, "Man, this is where you belong." Because for a
Nice.
long time, Chaotic, and even now,
Yeah.
if you were to ask me the top wrestling promotions in New England, I will tell you Limitless. I'll tell you Beyond/Wrestling Open. I'll tell you Chaotic.
Yep.
Yep. And long ago, before those other two existed, Chaotic was the top dog.
Exactly.
And here's a little bit of a trivia nugget for you. That's where I started my wrestling journey.
Right.
I started training at
Right.
the Chaotic Training Center.
Yep.
And I never got to work there when I was wrestling. When the unfortunate incident with the last person who sat in that chair occurred,
Yep. We won't even bring it up.
we don't
There's no
need to.
That's right.
It's not
Yep.
our story. It
That's
does not
right.
matter. But when that happened, that seat opened
Right.
up, and Chase was like, "You know what? I'm not going to replace him right away. I'm going to give an opportunity to all these commentary
Right.
people around New England."
Right.
And I believe if it
You were
was
the first one.
I believe it was me who we
Yeah.
brought in first, and I
Yeah.
was just like, man. And you know I'm an emotional guy,
yeah.
and I'm very, I feel certain ways about things, and like, look, if you're watching at home, I know that if you have an opinion about Chaotic now versus Chaotic then, I understand, and I'll tell you, I'm the one who understands the most, because back in February, Chase handed me the first 12 years
Yeah,
of
yeah, no,
Chaotic's
I
tape
remember you telling
library
me that, yeah.
to convert to digital, and that was an honor enough.
Oh, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
to be able, this is going to sound kind of markish of me, but whatever. I do keep a scrapbook of the cool things that I've done.
You should.
Of course. Because one day we're all going to be,
right.
we're going to get hit in the head so much we're not going to remember anything.
Yeah.
And so I photocopied my check from Chaotic and put it in my, just to be like, and there it is.
Yep.
If
That's
I,
awesome.
If I never, ever get to do it again, I can at least say, well, I worked Chaotic one time.
Yeah.
And it was a great show. I got to call Dijak versus JT Dunn.
Nice.
And JT is a great wrestler, and we never ran in the same circles at the same time.
Right.
But how can you not notice that his talent? And
He's
Dijak,
incredible, man.
And
Yeah.
Dijak.
Yeah, no doubt.
The guy.
No doubt.
He once again, I do business with Dijak.
Yeah.
He does his cards and pictures with me, and I'm just like, he got released from the WWE, and like 3 days later, he's on my porch and I'm just like, what life is this?
Right.
That's when I really go, let me just let my mark flag fly a little bit. This is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to have an okay reputation, which is funny because the person who asked that question, we had a little bit of a dialogue on the post.
Yes, you
and
did.
he said something to the effect of, and with all due respect, man, I know you have an opinion. I don't necessarily agree with you at all. But that's okay. We don't have to agree.
You don't have to. That's right.
That's fine.
That's right.
We can have a different opinion and still be cool. But one of the things he said was, he was just like, well, he said, I apologize, I'm paraphrasing. He said something like, if anyone's going to help nurse their public opinion, it'll be someone like you. And I'm like, they don't need to have a nursed public opinion.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Chase and Brian, they had their legal dispute.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over now.
It's over. And here's the thing. When your episode came out, oh man, it was big talk for about a week. And then it just disappeared, just like everything else in the wrestling zeitgeist.
Got 1,000 views in 3 days.
Oh man.
Honestly, that was incredible.
For someone like you who just like, I do all this work. I'm here every Monday. I interview all these people. And these shows are getting less than 300-400 views sometimes.
Most of them.
And you should start posting these things on Facebook too.
Yeah.
It's something and do reels. Yeah.
My grandson actually said he's going to help me with it too, which is really cool.
Just do like minute-long clips.
Yeah, that's what he said, 2-minute clips.
Like we posted Delilah Hayden throwing a forearm.
Nice.
In a week, 70,000 views.
Wow.
And it's just like, wow, I'm glad I thought of that.
That's amazing.
Great. I'm glad I started doing that. Where the hell was I? Oh yeah. So chaotic doesn't need it's the same thing I say about people outside the wrestling business. If you like wrestling, no explanation is needed.
Yep.
If you don't like wrestling, no explanation is good enough. So in this situation, if you don't like chaotic, there's nothing I or anybody else can say that's going to change your opinion, and the same goes the other way. But that being said, is like, Chase lost the lawsuit and then sold out his next 3 shows.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure he's okay.
100%.
So,
and I would never put them down because I'm the one that's going to look like the fool by putting down a great company.
All right. And you said the magic word. Let's talk about fools for a minute.
Uh-oh.
And you and I are going to disagree on this because we're on opposite sides of the fence. And I don't want to be. But it's one of those that you said something to me that made a lot of sense when we were talking about this off air.
Yeah.
You said, he's my friend.
Yeah.
And I got to stick with my friend.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you something. Tough Talk Tony Spencer is one of my best friends in the world. And he probably will be until the day I die or I kill him. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
There are times. And Tony, myself, and Adam Nessel, who's also been on the show with me previously, we all trained for a little while. Tony more than me and Adam, but we all trained at Maverick Wild Wrestling School.
Yep.
And up until recently, I've had a great relationship, a great, good, whatever, a great acquaintanceship. We were never super duper close, but we were always cool. And I'm thankful for the lessons that he gave me in my earlier years.
Right.
And remember when him and Tony were on the show, I was here.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's really nice to, afterwards, I'm like, hey, you want to go out to dinner? He wasn't feeling it that night, whatever.
Right.
But it was just like, it was good to be like, hey, man.
Yeah.
I'm not the same backyard punk that I was when I met you.
Let's do something.
Let's hang out, I'd like to get to know you better like that. And it didn't pan out that night. Now, Chase and Maverick, obviously, they have an issue.
Yeah.
There was something that happened, and I have heard both sides of the story.
Yeah.
It is not my story to tell.
Right.
But I'm going to go on the record for anybody watching. They both screwed up. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Because the story doesn't start where the story actually starts.
Right.
When one tells the story versus the other.
Okay.
That being said, I feel both were in the wrong, or better yet, you know what? I won't even call them wrong because I think that gets people angry. I think both men's emotions caused them to say and do things that they probably shouldn't have. Honestly, that whole thing could have been fixed with a conversation or a fist fight in the parking lot.
Right.
I don't condone it.
Yep.
But some people, that's just the way they live.
Yeah.
And frankly, in the words of Mike Montero, if you want something bad enough, you'd better be willing to fight to the death in the middle of the street, or you don't really want it. Which
Good
reminds me,
advice from the ace.
December 14th, Mike Montero and Ricky Medeiros take on their partners.
Yeah, dude.
Jason Devine and Jamie Tucker. We're going to see the DCMC Civil War break out. And there's really no animosity.
Red City Murder Crew.
There's really no animosity. And I'm going to say this. And
Why are they doing this?
I'm going to say this and I'm going to move on.
Okay.
You want to be there. If you are a fan of Mike Montero, you want to be there. So anyway, back to my story.
Yeah.
So Tony Spencer and Maverick Wild there's kind of a father-son relationship, because Tony lost his dad in his 20s.
Oh, I did not know
and
that.
Mav, Mav's an older guy.
Yeah.
Well, older than us anyway.
Right.
And
Younger than me.
Mav's an older guy, and he can definitely fill that role. And Mav has even gone on record as to say that Tony was one of his best friends.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely, yes.
So like I said, Chase and Mav have an issue. Not my story to tell, but they have an issue. And that's not my story. But then Chase agreed to make a very rare outside of chaotic appearance for the Proving Ground.
Yep.
And for those wondering, he was awesome in the locker room. He was awesome in the ring.
Yeah.
He was awesome with the planning. And it was something that
cool.
Stephen Lust really wanted to do. Because Steve grew up in Lowell.
Right.
And chaotic.
He was there quite a bit.
Chase was...
Yeah.
Steve said to me a long time ago, he said, I learned what it was like to be a coward heel, a great seller, and a solid baby face from Chase Del Monte.
Guy's a great worker.
Just being a fan. And since I've been converting these old shows, I see Steve.
Right.
In the front row or in close to the front row in a lot of these shows.
Right.
And I'm just like, what a great story to tell. Let's do it. And I said, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that, Chase has been around for over 20 years.
Yes, he has.
But my audience doesn't know who he is.
No, you're right. You're right. No, not all your audience. Some will. Some do.
But my audience is a strongly casual audience, like townies. And they're not going to know who he is. So we introduced him the show before on the big screen, cutting a promo. And then I said, you know what? Let's have him do an interview segment at the show, like early in the card.
Yeah.
To get people to be like, oh, he's a prick. We don't like him, because he's a heel on my show. And I said, oh, this is a license to print money.
Yeah.
Let's have Tony Spencer do because he does Tough Talk, which is like Piper's Pit. Let's do a Tough Talk with Tony and Chase, and it just writes itself, right? All right, so I booked that, and I announced that.
Yep.
And then your episode with Brian and Nick?
Nick. Yep.
So your episode with Brian and Nick comes on. That afternoon, Mav texts Tony.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see this? Link to your show. Now I'm going to say this. As controversial as that episode of the show was, nothing about that show made anybody seem canceled.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
There was a few tidbits here and there that were kind of scandalous, but for the most part, it was just like, okay, these two guys had a disagreement, went to court over it.
Yep.
And Brian, by the way, this was hilarious to me. It was the best rib that you could have ever done. Brian gets exonerated from being called a troll and then comes on your show and spends an hour being a troll. Perfect. That you couldn't write. It's like putting a hat on top of a hat. That was, I was, once again, hypothetically, allegedly, whatever won't get me sued. Once again, I like you guys. It was just funny. And you, look, if you're mad about it, you have to understand it's true. So it's hilarious. So then that happens. Tony goes, yes, I saw it. And then Mav goes, are you still going to do that interview segment on whatever the date was? And he's like, I plan to, yeah. And then Mav goes, goodbye. What? Mav came on your show.
Yep.
And he's a guest. He's always welcome.
Yep.
And he's on the show. One of the episodes, if I'm not mistaken, he came on here and he told you about his mental health issues.
Yes, we did a special kind of episode on that. And I had him on because of that.
And he talked about there was a moment where he was getting ready to kind of...
Yeah?
Okay? That was probably about a year and a half to 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, probably a year and a half.
Tony was there for him when he was going through that. Even credited Tony at one point for helping walk him back off the ledge.
Right.
Okay. And once again, said Tony was one of his best friends and the relationship they have.
Yeah.
and he took a booking, and that was enough? What kind of relationship is that?
I can't answer for Mav.
I don't expect you to.
I can't answer for Mav.
And I would have asked Mav, but he blocked me before he blocked Tony for whatever reason. Mav, you don't owe me any kind of an explanation. It's not me. That's between you two. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And also, in knowing Tony, and I apologize, Tony, if I'm saying anything that's not public, but Tony also has, mental issues from time to time.
Okay. I did not know that.
And you would imagine his best friend would know that, okay? But to be like, you took a booking for a friend, because he's my friend, and I'm one of the only people that books Tony for much anymore.
Right.
It's like you took a booking and that was enough to just walk away from the friendship. I feel that's kind of shitty. But it didn't end there. But a week later or so, and I've seen the screenshots, that's why I'm able to tell this story and be like, okay, I believe it. But a week later or so, Tony gets another text. I guess he was unblocked and then he got texted again. Send me back my robe. Mav had gifted Tony a robe from his career that Tony wore. Tony actually wrestled as Maverick Wild Jr. at one point.
Did he really?
Yeah, they won tag titles.
I think he said that.
They won tag titles for Todd Sopel, oddly enough.
Oh, yeah.
Oddly enough, right? And he said, I want you to mail me back my robe. Now, Tony, who admittedly isn't always the swiftest when it comes to response to stuff like this, he did the right thing. He said nothing. Because it was like, okay, clearly Mav is in situations like this. You got to imagine, I'm not going to say I know anything about what Mav's going through now, but like when people are depressed or people are upset, and he has an opinion about the Chase stuff. When people are upset, hurt people. So he may not even in a year from now he may feel bad about it, or he may not have meant it the way that he wanted it to. Nevertheless, he said, please send me my robe back. And Tony didn't reply. And then maybe a day or two later, he said, I'm going to take you to small claims court if you don't send me my robe back.
He could answer them.
He did. He sent the robe back.
Oh, okay.
But in my opinion, that marks the absolute end of their relationship. And
it could be repaired. It could.
Give it time.
If they wanted it, they could fix it. They really could. If they wanted it,
they wanted it. They could fix it. And there might come a day. And I hope there comes a day.
Me too. Because I don't want people hating anybody.
Listen, we don't get to live here very long.
That's right.
Like, there's no reason to be this upset. Tony didn't do anything. That's the thing to remember. And it takes an awful lot to make me angry.
Right.
And like, I would sit down with Todd Sopel and talk if he wanted to.
Right.
I don't think he would.
Right. And I don't think you really want to, but you would.
I would.
No, I hear you.
I mean, look, if there's anybody out there I got beef with, I'd be more than happy to sit down and have a conversation with.
Right.
But as it stands right now, Tony Spencer is my friend.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think that Mav is being a bitter old fool. But he has the right to his opinion.
Yes.
And a right to his feelings.
Yep. And hopefully,
hopefully. And Mav,
I really do hope
Mav, if you are watching,
he will.
Please reconsider this. Until then, it's like,
love you, Mav.
I don't have a negative view of Mav outside of this one thing.
Right.
And I hope that one.
You've always talked highly of him. Always.
He helped guide me in my journey, you know, and he may not have approved of some of my methods in the past or anything like that, but like, come on, man. Like, you guys are best friends. What the hell are you doing? So that's my opinion. And I would have said all of this to him privately had he not randomly blocked me. So
he's probably upset.
He's hurt people. So
once
again, I'll just say it again. He doesn't owe me anything.
Right. No, I hear you.
But a phone call to Tony would be cool.
It's good advice.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that's good advice, Todd. It is.
You know, and like I look. Nobody sue me. I wasn't trying. You know, I was like, I don't have, like it takes, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got that out of the way. We got a lot of cool questions.
Yes.
Let's get there.
All right. Okay, how about this one? Can we get a Dick Buster reunion ASAP? You told me it already happened.
What's funny is we had a Dick Busters reunion in June when we finished the Kellen Thomas storyline. He lost the Loser Leaves match, and the Dick Busters came through to add a couple. We threw him in the back of the U-Haul and drove him off.
Nice.
So, parts unknown, Abu Dhabi, whatever.
Yeah. Well, there's a little Dick Buster reunion, though, on the 14th. Were you cornering Tommy?
That's true.
So I mean,
Dick will be at Cabaret Wrestle, which he hates me. He hates me.
Oh, Dick Lane's gonna be at Cabaret Wrestle?
Yeah. He took the date before I could. I wanted all the Dick Busters there in December, but it happens.
All right. Matthew McGee, good old freight train.
Yeah.
Has Proving Ground exceeded your expectations, and how far do you hope to see Proving Ground go?
Yes, very far. Next question. No, yes, it exceeded all of my expectations.
And you're growing.
I never thought that, when I started PG, I thought it was going to be just another studio project that we did out of the Showcase building, which I say was, but I just haven't been there in a while, was a very beautiful building. But, after 2018, so we were 2 years in, we got the opportunity to do a live show. And then after that, we did one or two more studio tapings, and it was like, nah, man, it's time. Because T Phoenix made it so easy for us.
Yeah.
Because we did it at the Chop Shop, and now T is like RWA is selling hundreds of tickets a show.
Dude, it's unreal.
And also the Renegade, the ring rental business is off the charts.
That's
so
awesome.
It's like he's running X amount of shows a year. Plus, he's also making bank, renting the ring to at least a dozen places. So
that's awesome.
So that's good. What was the second half of that?
The second half is how far do you hope to see Proving Ground go?
To the moon!
No.
Here's how far I want it to go. I want it to go to the level that I'm able to control it. Because if I said, yep, we're going to do shows in every state, all 49 states, because I'll be dead in the cold ground before I recognize Missouri. Simpsons fans, anybody? I think I would like to remain New England.
Okay.
Right now, I'm running in two cities next to each other. I'm not even branching out that way because most people set up their stakes. And although we don't have a territory system, I still believe, and this is hilarious, all things considered, I still believe you don't, at the very least, you don't run in a building somebody else is running. There's a building in Lynn, I think somebody was trying to get me to run, but that's a big time building, and I didn't want to do that. There's a wrestling promotion. I can give them some free press, I guess. There's a wrestling promotion coming to Peabody a week after my January show.
Really?
Daikaiju.
There's a whole bunch of new wrestling companies that have popped up. Rebel Spirit.
Well, Rebel Spirit is the offshoot of WFA.
Oh, it is?
Well, yeah, that's Caleb Seltzer. So I don't know this story up close. I just know I believe there was a falling out between Caleb and Scott Reed, and
I believe that.
And now there's two promotions.
Right. And I saw pictures of their event. They looked like they had a lot of people at their show.
Can't take me anywhere.
Huh? New
mouth. Take me anywhere.
But yeah, crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Valkyrie Gilbert?
Yeah, Martha. Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite gimmick of all time? Your own, a friend's, and at the WWE professional on television level.
A gimmick.
Yours, your friends, and a WWE.
So my favorite gimmick, I loved playing Leatherface.
Okay.
I used to do that, or perhaps the gay character I played in my younger years, it was ambiguously. I wore the Stevie Richards getup, and I was not in shape to do it.
That must have been
It made me a lot of money.
I bet.
Hang on, let me explain that real quick before I lose or receive any bookings. I recorded a few matches in this character.
Yeah.
Daisy Dukes half shirt, really pushing it. Couldn't get away with it today. I know that.
Right.
If you're playing a gay character, you should probably be gay.
Right.
And although I'm not going
There's a lot of them out there,
and
too.
Although I'm not going to discuss my sexual orientation on this program, Leo, I would probably get crap for it. So I wouldn't do it again. But the first 5 matches it was all backyard wrestling, by the way.
Right.
So the first 5 matches, this was around the time I was learning how to make DVDs. Made the DVD, put it up on eBay with the tag gay interest, right? Because the character was as it was.
Yeah.
Sold.
No way.
In minutes. And I was just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And I said, that's got to be a mistake. I put it back up. Sells again.
Yeah. Well, what?
I made $1,500 on that DVD, $5 at a time, and I was just like, I got to stop this before someone gets mad. You know,
Dude,
so,
that's a good way to make money.
the character would actually evolve to what I'm doing now, because it was the first time I used the name
Right.
Derek Simonetti, and it was just like, oh, okay, I probably shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Actually, the original name was supposed to be Derek Destiny, but I don't know if you remember there was a Derek Destiny
in New England,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, from Rhode Island, I think.
Correct. And I apologize if I'm wrong about this, but I believe his promo shot, he was wearing like a bike helmet and acting special needs.
Oh, God.
So I was
You could never do that.
could never do that now. You couldn't Eugene today.
No,
So I'm glad I decided on a more reasonable gimmick
Yeah.
of me.
And now, when did you do that game?
Oh God,
2018,
no, it was 2005. Wow. Yeah, that was a backyard wrestler.
Okay,
then.
yeah,
I started going
You
to
said
school.
that. Hello.
I had my first professional match in 06, so I was doing backyard stuff at the time. When I got to doing real matches, I was like, I should probably take this serious. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, gimmick. Friends gimmicks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jesus. Who's that? Freaking Flax. And then
Oh, he's awesome.
And then on
Love that
then on
gimmick.
WWE,
Yeah.
favorite gimmick.
gotta be.
Vader.
Vader, yeah. I
for
thought
sure.
it might have been Undertaker.
No. All right. I was never my favorite wrestler growing up was the 1-2-3 Kid. I was never.
Oh, okay.
Like I loved the bigger stars,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
main event stars, but I was never like they're my favorite. you
Right,
know?
right.
Or maybe except for Brett.
Okay.
Except for Brett.
All right. I wrote this question. I noticed that you had worked for Chaotic Announcing, that you had Chase booked at Proving Ground. Should we expect to see you guys working together again?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I liked my experience there. I liked my broadcast partner there.
And who was your broadcast?
I forget his name right now.
sorry,
I
dude.
apologize.
Sorry.
Put me on the spot like
sorry.
that. I apologize, homie, but it was a good night. I liked it. I don't know necessarily if Chaotic has filled that position with somebody more regular, but he gave a lot of us an opportunity.
That's
so
awesome.
It was cool.
Did Chris Sanders get a chance?
I think so, yeah.
Awesome. He's a good kid, man.
BMT always tells me about my commentary. He's like, you actually know how to get us
You
over.
are a good
and
guy.
I'm just like, oh, okay, cool.
I told you that you were doing it for NCW, and I really enjoyed your commentary. I really did.
NCW Friday night I'll be doing commentary, and then NRG on Saturday night I'll be doing commentary.
Nice.
So
That's awesome,
Get your
man.
tickets.
Do it because you're good at it.
Yeah.
All right. For let's see. You run the show next Saturday at the PG Proving Ground Championship as the champion. The minor racer Mike Grassa defends against his mentor, the one JT Dunn.
Yes.
How long have you wanted to book JT Dunn?
All right. So it's a funny story. JT and I think we've met a handful of times.
Yeah.
Never close. Never really had a long conversation. I just know he's a very talented guy.
Very.
There was a time where he was booked for Elkmania, and it was going to be him and Jack Kruger, I believe, at the time. And I think I wrestled Tony on that show, oddly enough. And it was like maybe the week of, he had to pull off because he got a concussion. So we lost that opportunity to work with one another. Like I said, we never ran in the same circles, and and some of those circles were sometimes they had animosity towards one another.
Right.
But that was years ago. People change things.
Right.
I mean, JT just had a kid.
Exactly.
So it was
Congratulations.
So when Mike said, "Why don't you ask Johnny?" And I was just like, I guess I can try.
Right.
And then he was like down for it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
Let's make it happen. Even if it's one time, let's make it happen.
Now, he's definitely one of the best wrestlers in New England, by far.
Yeah.
He really is.
It's one of those
Kid's
things,
incredible.
It's one of those things where it's like, there should have been a signature on a piece of paper at some point.
Right.
But that's not my business. I don't know.
I hear you. I've never even met JT
I'm
Dunn,
just
but
glad
he's very talented.
I'm just glad to have him. So
Awesome. All right. In the Holiday Death Match, Tommy Trainwreck versus El Valentine.
yeah.
I mean, I'll be there.
Oh, good.
I'll definitely be there. And just so you know, all the shows I've been to you at Proving Ground, they've all been great shows.
Well, thank you.
They really have. They've all been great shows.
I do pride myself on not booking crap.
Right.
Unfortunately, not everyone has that same philosophy. No disrespect to them. Run it how you want to run it. But,
Right.
like, there's been a lot of like drama in the last few days with, and I'm saying this as respectfully as I can, with promotions and talents who should just be happy that they're doing it.
Right.
Like, please, just guys, stop all the fighting. Enjoy what you're doing. We don't have to do this. We get to do this.
Yes.
It's very important. Some people get to do this far sooner than they should, but they still got an opportunity to do it. Don't bitch about it. If you got a problem, settle it privately. And I know how much of a hypocrite I sound like, considering I just told that story earlier. Do as I say, not as I do. So, all right.
All right. Greg Jones Isaacson.
Yes.
What's your favorite addition you made to Dick Buster video? And any favorite guilty pleasure flicks?
All right. Favorite guilty pleasure flicks? Let me think about that. But he mentioned the video store,
Yes.
and he also, that sign guy, Greg, he has done a few, he made a few signs for my video store.
Yeah.
So I brought a selection from my video store.
pretty cool.
Some of my favorite cuts so far. So we're on the one. All right, cool. So you obviously got to have the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters on VHS. And if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the, there's several releases.
Yeah.
Several different
This is
case,
the original
case
one?
arts. I don't know if it's the original one, but this is the Columbia Pictures version of it.
Right.
And it's like, it's in the old school style of a VHS design. All right, I guess this will count as a guilty pleasure.
It's pretty funny, guys.
As one of the things that I collect for my video store, I collect Richard Simmons VHS tapes.
The late Richard Simmons, who passed away not that long ago.
We lost him. We still have Pauly Shore, so we'll
Yes,
be all
we
right.
do. I saw that video.
So this is Sweating with the Oldies 2. I believe he did 4 Sweating to the Oldies. Then he started doing Sweating to Books on tape. And then he's got Jazzercising with Jazz and all that stuff. My girlfriend's mother, actually, she loved the first Richard Simmons Sweating to the Oldies. So her and I, my girlfriend Crystal and I would go out to Savers and all these thrift shops looking for the first one. It was I think it was around the holidays or something like that. We found it right before Christmas. So,
Wow.
And I converted it to DVD because they don't have a VHS. I'm a huge fan of the Punisher movie from 2004, but I couldn't resist getting Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. Trust me, if you thought if they die was something, they die in this one. This is going to be funny because this is a green screen background. So there's some green on this. Let's see how funny this looks. We can't see it on the monitor. This was one of my favorite home videos. I don't know how many times I rented this when I was a kid. Tiny Toons, How I Spent My Summer Vacation. Loved the Plucky Duck storyline where they go all the way to their version of Disney, get on the monorail, look at all the rides, and then just go home. It was awesome. This also has green on it, so this will be funny. But this is a lot of young wrestlers' first introductions to deathmatch wrestling because it featured the famous tournament with Cactus and Terry and Leatherface. Stranglemania is hosted by the ICP. And what's wonderful about it is it is minty. There is
great condition.
No mold. I didn't even know tape mold was a thing until this year, and then had to throw out a bunch of my collection.
Yeah.
Thanks, it was a lot of common stuff. But yeah, classic. They made a second one of these. It wasn't as good. This right here, this is classic. And of course, I had to bring Chud.
Chud, yeah.
Never seen the movie. Don't even know if I'm a fan of it, but I love me some Middlesex Express. So here's to you, Chuds. These are my. Maybe every time I come on, I'll bring a selection.
There you go.
The one that I forgot to bring that was one of my favorites. There was actually 2. Oh, actually, you know what? I got another one in the bag. It's all green though. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the making of the Coming Out of Their Shells tour. They knew what they were doing when they named that.
Yeah, I don't know how much that's going to be shown.
Probably not. You can see at least the blue, Leonardo's thing. But anyway, that's not the actual concert. It's the making of the concert, which I think is even harder to find. I also forgot to bring it, but one of my favorite videos it was the making of Thriller. It was like a 1-hour documentary.
Yeah.
The making of Thriller, hilarious.
That gym teacher at my school every year teaches the kids how to do the Thriller dance.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anthony Lewis.
Okay.
That VHS collection is beautiful from the picture.
Yes,
all right. Reggie, Richard Knight.
Yes.
As a promoter, what are the most important skills needed? Maybe top 5 to run a successful show.
We don't have enough time for this, but I'll keep it simple. Patience, understanding. Know that a lot of people I've often referred to running wrestling shows as trying to get 60 feral cats to run in the right direction, and it's difficult sometimes because not everybody. Well, everybody to a point,
Yeah.
is very protective over their character, what they do, what they say. I have a very lax, when I write the script,
Right.
when I write the format sheet, I at times will, like, under match notes, I'll just write kill it. Because I'm not going to be like, all right, you do an arm drag, then he does an arm drag. I'm not going to book your match for you. If I have a specific finish that I want you to hit, I'll sit down with you, and then they'll end up pitching to me like, well, what if we did it this way? And then it becomes their own, and then it's better.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
Remember these, and for a lot of these wrestling there's a lot of wrestling promotions where the wrestlers aren't getting paid a lot. So you can't expect them all to be, you can't, and this goes for any job actually. As the boss or as the guy in charge or the person in charge, you cannot expect people to be as passionate or diehard as you, because
that is true.
They're not reaping all the benefit from it. Like, they're not getting the show money.
Right.
They're getting what they agreed to.
Yep.
And if they agreed to $20 in a sandwich, then, if the show's gangbusters and you get mad, like, you agreed to it.
You agreed to it, yeah.
So, but there's two sides to every coin. I benefit from the fact that I was a wrestler and a promoter.
Right.
So I try to be as fair as possible. I'm sure there are people in my locker room that are getting ready to razz my ass for this, but nevertheless, I do my best. I actually do way more than people even know about, but that's because I kind of live for this, and it helps me live indoors now.
Excellent.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know about a top 5. I don't know if I hit 5 things, but be patient, have a vision. A lot of people just go, I'm going to run a wrestling show, and then they get the tax refund, and then they do, and then they draw 15 people and lose all their money.
Yeah.
Don't be that. And I'm not even saying those, I'm not even saying those shows are bad.
Right.
What I am saying is,
have a vision.
Have a vision.
Yeah.
If you have the right people in your corner to help you, if your dream in life was to put on one wrestling show, then do one wrestling show. Give yourself enough time to promote it. Promotion, that's a huge thing. Give yourself enough time to promote it. Don't kill yourself in the money department, because guess what? You realize that wrestling fans, they're paying to see wrestling. They don't care who.
Nope.
They don't care, they can't get the experience at the WWE that they would get at your local show. True. How many WWE shows you been to where you could touch the ring from your seat?
No, none.
Without being accosted?
Not one.
Well, unless you're Chad Epic. Unless you're Chad Epic. That was the greatest thing I ever saw. Guy wanders around the AEW locker room, winds up back sitting with us, and because he was with our tickets. Me and Flax, we're up getting snacks, right? He comes, I get back, and Kenny, Adam's brother,
Kenny
my drummer.
Yeah.
He's like, the security people were all over Chad. I don't know what the hell happened. You know what happened? The greatest wrestling storyline in history. He did the stuff backstage, which that's his story to tell. But when he came back to the seats and security was like, you got to get out of here, he just looked at him and went, I got my ticket. And I'm just like, I have seen this story before.
Yeah.
Seen this somewhere. It was awesome. It's a great story, and thankfully, no animals were harmed in the production of the story. So anybody that was butthurt about it, then look, they canceled Dark and Dark Elevation. Be mad at them.
All right, we got like 5 minutes, and I got a bunch of questions.
Let's do it.
Adam Nessel, what did you think? What do you look for when adding talent to the roster?
Good in the ring, not an asshole in the locker room.
Okay.
That's the most generic answer I can give you.
What do you think of the WWE ID system in regards to being an independent promotion?
Oh, if WWE ID was to become a wrestling promotion?
Yes.
You mean like...
In regards to being,
Like NXT UK, perhaps?
Right.
I mean, I guess that would be good. Right now, details of what the ID program is very vague. I spoke to Ricky Smokes, who, congratulations to Ricky Smokes.
And Brad Baylor.
Gall, Barkai, Bryce Donovan.
Clipper Jones.
Well, as far as the people that I'm familiar with from around here, they already got a lot of people in New England. If they were to turn it into a promotion, that would be cool. As far as right now, my understanding is there might be some element of a right to first refusal.
Okay.
And so somebody said to me, I'm like, well, what do you get with that? And he's like, the ability to use the WWE logo while I'm in the Indies. And I'm just like, okay, cool.
Okay, yeah.
That's neat. Hey, they're looking at you? Neat.
Right.
That's neat. So I don't have a fully formed opinion on it yet, because I don't think anybody does.
Right. And I did see somebody posted, if Alec Price doesn't have WWE ID thing soon. Something's wrong.
Here's my opinion on that, right?
Yeah.
I saw that too. My opinion on it is like this. We don't know what the WWE ID program
Right.
is, but we do know, like, I am a firm believer that people like Alec Price, Channing Thomas, BRG, Ichiban, both members of the Miracle Generation.
Yep.
I think all those guys would be great for WWE contracts. Just because they're doing the ID program doesn't necessarily mean
True.
they're not straight up signing people.
Right.
So I'll be okay if Alec doesn't get the ID if he gets a contract.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
See what I mean? So, yeah. So, I don't know about this yet, but I'm curious as a promoter to see how it's going to affect booking those talents.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to skip Adam's next question. I'm going to go to Scott Anthony. His interviews are always great. Love listening to him speak. What direction do you see Proven Ground going within the next 3 to 5 years?
Upwards. Next question.
All right. Joe Bruin, what are your what are your very first memories of independent wrestling?
You know, I saw, as a kid when my dad would bring me to the local shows, first memory, buying a Vampiro LJN figure from Mexico at one of the merch tables. I had that figure for a while. Vampiro Canadiense or whatever it is, or Canadian vampire.
Yeah.
That was a big one. I'm pretty sure, gosh, I'm forgetting, why am I forgetting his name? Chunky but funky. Not
Scott
Sonny,
Ashworth.
Scott Ashworth. I am fairly certain that it was Scott Ashworth in a Mr. America hood.
Yeah.
You know, because it wasn't, I don't think it was Jim Sargent.
Right.
Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Scotty would do Doink, Scotty would do
Yes.
the American Patriot and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But we had one of those at a show. As I got older, the independent shows, it was like Stevie Richards.
Right.
All right, here you go. Here's a Todd fact for you. I carried a picture of Stevie Richards in my wallet right through the end of high school.
Why?
I'm a fan.
Just 'cause
Maybe
you-
he's my favorite gimmick. I don't know. I'm a fan of Stevie Richards. I
There you
always
go.
liked his work. I remember meeting Meanie and being like, I carried a picture of your partner in my wallet. And he's like, what about me? And I'm like, I carried a picture of
Yeah.
Stevie in my wallet.
Not you.
Sorry, Brian. Actually, if I'm being honest, I'm pretty sure I lied to him. I said they were both in the picture. but
Yeah,
It was a
but-
lie, Brian. If you ever see this, which you won't, but
That's funny. All right. So I got to go to this one first.
Yeah.
Stephen Lambert.
yep.
I didn't understand what it was. FMK. I'm like, what? Then, so FMK, Tony Spencer, Atlee Greed, Ryan Andrews.
Well, first I'd have to kill Ryan.
All right. So Ryan's dead. Okay.
Ryan's
Yep,
gonna
kill.
go. I would marry Atlee.
All right. Marry
Because
Atlee.
Atlee and I have great conversations,
Yeah.
and I think I could spend the rest of my life talking wrestling with Atlee.
And you would.
And Tony, because he's got a pipe on him, you know.
That's
The legend
what
has
a great question. though.
legend has it.
What a great question.
I mean, hey, if we're being fair, I've been blowing him this whole hour anyway. So what's
Right,
the difference?
Right. All right. Scott Anthony, he says, with all the indie talent out there today, do you believe exclusive contracts would work for any individual promotion so that the talent and storylines are kept homegrown? I just think it would be kind of hot.
Yeah, I mean, chaotic.
If you don't have enough, there's not enough money coming into
Chaotic
these.
Chaotic tried it in its first year.
Yes.
And have you ever met Livia?
No.
She's a female talent.
Yeah.
in the
Blonde
ring.
girl.
Yeah, she's a second generation.
No way.
She, I forget which one. One of the one night stand
Ronnie
guys.
Delicious or
yeah,
Edwards?
yeah. It's one of those two that
Wow,
she's the
no
daughter
kidding.
of. So that's kind of cool. Forget the countdown. We're going long tonight.
That's wild.
What else you got?
That's it.
That's it?
That's it. So, but I want you to plug your show.
Oh, of course.
Plug it.
And we're off the air.
That's all right. No, we're not. We're not off the air.
December 14th, Proving Ground presents Nothing Left to Prove at the Peabody Knights of Columbus. Front row tickets are sold out, so get your general admission tickets for $12 online or $15 at the door if you want. We've got a holiday death match. We have got a 3-round showdown for the DLC championship. Think MMA rules. It's kind of rounds, stuff like that. We have got a first time in the Proving Ground match between Mike Grassa and JT Dunn.
Yeah.
What else? What have I announced?
Tommy Trainwreck's
Tommy
back.
Trainwreck's going to be there. El Valentine's going to be there. Proving Ground Tag Team Championships are going to be on the line. The Hitters versus the Hoods losing team must disband forever in the Proving Ground. There is a possibility that if the Hoods lose, and this version of the Hoods is Davey Cash and his son Cassius.
Yes.
Can you imagine
No, I can't.
wrestling with your son, living the dream?
That'd be awesome.
And then having to never be able to team with him
Yeah,
again.
that would really stink.
Nightmare to me if I had
Dave,
kids.
you got to make sure you win this one.
And of course, the All Dirt City Murder Crew Tag Team Extravaganza. Once again, if you're a Mike Montero fan,
Yeah.
get your ticket and be there.
And if you're not, why aren't you? He's the ace, man. He's the ace.
I'm going to say it right now. He's literally one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in person. Anyway, that does it for the program.
Todd, thanks, brother.
As always.
All right, peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.